Hi everyone. The reading progress for this week has been the parable of the sower. I think that, as the story progresses, it becomes more and more heartbreaking. We see a world with scarcity. We see the protagonist, the 16-year-old, struggling with her thought process. There is no standard of living. There's theft. There are break-ins. Everyone, even 16-year-olds, are equipped with a gun. It's a walled community, and Lauren has started making emergency packs, in case something happens. She wants a backup plan. She's learning survival skills, so she is able to survive on her own outside. But then we see Keith, who is her 13-year-old brother, and he keeps repeating. So I think it's a human sort of habit to keep repeating when you feel like you're not being heard. And he keeps saying, "Oh, I'm a man, give me a gun, I'm a man." And his father refuses it, outright refuses to give him a gun. And they're supposed to go for training, but they actually never end up giving Keith a gun. And then Keith goes out. He goes out and then he comes back and he's bruised and he's beaten up. And it's quite horrific to find your child, your 12, 13-year-old like that. And then he does it again. And Lauren, from the inside, although she was the one who wanted to step outside, she wanted to see, what the outside is. She wanted to see what could be done outside, if there was a better life outside. But she doesn't dare to do that because she is sensible and she knows that this is not the way to do things. Her father knows more and he's a preacher and he's smarter. So I think the parts that really made me, feel here were there's this passage in which, so Keith is Lauren's half brother, but you see that there's a love and hate relationship there. And she says Keith has gone outside again. He went yesterday afternoon. Corey is Lauren's stepmother. Corey didn't admit until tonight, and he took only her key this time. Not only her key this time, but her gun. Dad refused to go out and look for him. Dad slept in his office last night. He's sleeping there again tonight. I never liked my brother much. I hate him now for what he's doing to the family, for what he's doing to my father. I hate him. Damn, I hate him. And then a contrasting two-line passage or paragraph literally is that today my parents had to go downtown to identify the body of my brother Keith. So you see the contrast sort of feelings going on here, that she's blaming Keith and she's feeling, she's pissed off that, why is this 13-year-old boy putting them in so much trouble. He's obviously, getting stuff or stealing or killing or doing bad things that he's not supposed to. He's a 13-year-old boy. He should be protected and shielded within the house. So, I mean, the way the story is written, it really pulls you in. And the writer, Octavia Butler, I think she's doing a fantastic job at just pulling the reader in and just making, how you see in those scary movies and you say, look behind you. And it's literally with Keith, you're like, why can't you understand? You're not supposed to step out. This is going to kill you. And that's what happens. And Lauren's hyper empathy as well sort of makes her in this uncomfortable position where even when he's bruised, earlier in the story, she feels it so much more. I'm really looking forward to finishing this story. So I started reading A Sense of Wonder for my research project. And what I'm trying to do at this point is read as much as I can. Some articles I read, but mostly I'm researching from, these books that I've bought as well, and some journal articles. So this was so in a contrast to No God But God, because that's about monotheistic religions, one God, and this actually is the world's best writers on the sacred, the profane, and the ordinary. So they've got I think about 12 writers, and it's a collection of essays. So the first essay that I read is actually about the writer's interaction with the Amish community. So I have an interesting story about the Amish community that we met in Iowa as well, but I think it's going to be completely irrelevant. But I do know how they live, and it's a way of life, and you can consider it a religion almost. And the second is about the Egyptian gods. So I'm just going through the book and I'm just trying to collect different perspectives on what the concept of God can be. You know, for monotheistic religions, obviously there is one God, but then there's Buddhism, and then there's just spirituality as well. So I think these essays are gonna help me sift through God in a different form. And you can tell with Lauren as well that she even talks about, she says, my God is not my father's God. So it's interesting that most of us who follow a religion share the concept of God, and it's going to be interesting to explore otherwise. Yeah, that's me.